Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you one-sentence reviews of the 100 most popular romances of the past 3 years. Now, you might be asking yourself, Chandler, didn't you just do a video like this? Didn't you just talk about 100 romances of the past 3 years? You would be correct. However, it was a different list. Goodreads decided to, I guess, re-release this list or release a more current version of this list in 2024. And when I compared the 2023 version, the 2024 version, I was really expecting there to be more overlap in the romances, but alas, there wasn't that much overlap. It got me thinking, what could I do with this list? How could I make it this interesting? Because for that video where I read top 100 romances of the past 3 years, I did like a top 10 of those 100, like the 10 that I think you should read. This time, giving you one-sentence reviews. I'm going to lightly tear some of these books apart and also tell you like what I think you should read. So in addition to the one sentences, I'm also going to give you my star rating for each of these books and whether or not I finished the book or even started it. There's actually like 3 books, I believe, that I didn't attempt to read at all, and I'll tell you why in my one-sentence review, of course. Well, it was really fun and easy to come up with the one-sentence little quips. For this video, it's impossible to boil down what I love about the sponsor of today's video, Nurex, into just one sentence. I'm a picky girl, which I'm sure you may or may not know if you've been here for a second, especially when it comes to my skin. I only want to use things on my face that are perfect for me, not for everybody else, for me specifically. Which is why I was so hyped to discover Nurex, which is a digital healthcare platform that offers more than 50 clinically proven treatments for melasma, for acne, for anti-aging. I wish I could say that I'm 30 and just completely done with acne, that acne is in my past, but that's unfortunately very much not the case, and she's still very much kicking. And as someone who's on camera every single day, I want to make sure that I'm looking and feeling my best. And Nurex is great because they connect you with a licensed medical provider that will help you tackle your skin concerns in the comfort of your own home, which I think we all know is like the preferable way to seek help for your skin. I don't want to have to go in somewhere, wait for an appointment for months, sit on some paper in like a cold office. It's just not really the vibe. You can complete a medical consultation anytime, and you have access to 24/7 care and support if you ever have any questions. Nurex has your back. So thank you to Nurex for sponsoring this video. Taking control of your health starts here. Go to nurex.com/chandler.ainsley to get started, or click the link in my description. That's nurx.com/chandler.ainsley. Now let's get into those one-sentence reviews, shall we? Starting off strong with People We Meet on Vacation. Pathetic Men and Friends to Lovers really wet my whistle, which is why People We Meet on Vacation is the best book that Emily Henry has ever written. Number 2, Reminders of Him. Reconnecting with your daughter after leaving prison should be both heart-wrenching and informative. And yet, number 3, It Starts With Us. If you weren't done with reading about Lily and her abuser, you can read about her co-parenting with her abuser while also trying to get her biscuit buttered by the kid that was living in her bedroom in high school. Number 4, Book Lovers. I Did Not Love. Number 5, Fourth Wing. Between World's Longest Sex Scene and the dragons fucking, I think I'm good never reading about or having sex ever again. Number 6, Things We Never Got Over. I'll never get over how immature the 30-plus-year-old characters in this book acted, and how I had to read the word milking in a sex scene. Number 7, A Court of Silver Flames. To categorize a book where a bitch walks up and down stairs over and over again and just complains endlessly as a romance is maybe a mistake, but not as big of a mistake as what that one winged dude does at the end of this book, and also what Sarah does with pregnancy. Number 8, Happy Place is an ironic name for a book that made me irrationally angry due to the heroine giving up med school to get her clam jammed and make pottery. Number 9, Twisted Love. There is something so delightfully unhinged about a campy brother's best friend billionaire romance, turning romantic suspense like 60% of the way in. Number 10, It Happened One Summer. All I want is for a man to both understand and support my spending habits and also rock my world, which Brendan absolutely nails. Pun intended. Number 11, Icebreaker. Sure, this book looks like it's for kids, and sure, it has a million side characters, and sure, the smut is excessive, but a hockey player becoming a figure skater is just too fun to pass up. Number 12, Every Summer After. There's nothing more delicious than a girl who has to choose between brothers, except when it's this book. Number 13, Love on the Brain. If this is the kind of freak nasty sexual tension that Reylo fanfiction is bringing, I might actually be tempted to watch Star Wars for the first time. And not to spoil anything, but I might be doing that later this month. Number 14, The Fine Print. I watched a Defunctland video on Disney recently, and apparently all the Imagineers were fucking, which is basically what this book does in the quirkiest way possible. Number 15, House of Sky and Breath, wins the award for the most disappointing SJM sophomore novel in series, for the most wet blanket hero, and for the most stinky Jim Cooter sex scenes in a book. 16, One Last Stop. Being separated by time and space doesn't prevent these two from getting their lady-loving rocks off in a subway, and I, for one, respect the effort. Number 17, Neon Gods. A Greek god dark romance should be titillating, but it left my tits plating. That was really bad. 18, The Servant and the Wings of Night. I think more books should be vampires meets Hunger Games meets whatever the fuck Sham does. Number 19, The Crown of Gilded Bones. Now I hate to make assumptions, but I think if all of your book titles and covers and premises sound the same, you probably didn't care much about writing the books, and I, as a result, don't care much about reading the books. Number 20, The Soulmate Equation. I, for one, would love to spin a cup and find out who my soulmate is, especially if he's a mega rich app developer with a heart of gold. Number 21, Part of Your World. Best books make you laugh, cry, and swoon in that order, and Abby Jimenez nailed all three. Number 22, Hooked. So you're telling me Hook wants to fuck Wendy to piss off Wendy's dad? I just think it would be better if Hook and the daddy had worked out their shit biblically. Number 23, King of Wrath. Arranged marriages are fun and all, but not when you can't remember a single thing about them. Number 24, The American Roommate Experiment. There's two kinds of girls: quirky, fun, hot, and evil, mean hags, which is tough for me because Elena Armis writes for one type of girl, and I am the latter. 25, Meet Me at the Lake. It takes a lot for me to hate the cheating trope, but somehow Carly nailed it with this 10 years of girl pining after guy mess. 26, 7 Days in June. Okay, I might have said that pining for years was bad like less than 5 seconds ago, but that's only because Tia Williams didn't write it. Number 27, The Cheat Sheet. Petition for more truly ridiculous, over-the-top, fan-fiction feeling romances with no on-page banging to go viral. Number 28, The Bodyguard. An additional petition for more romances with fanfic feels, but also more female bodyguards. 29, A Shadow in the Ember. I would be but a shadow of who I am now if I had decided to pick up another JLA book. The Very Secret Society of Regular Witches is not a romance, and if it were, I'd be pretty fucking angry because the hero is a bitch. 31, The Dead Romantics. Now I'm really getting into more romances that have real life issues, like aside from just how are we gonna fit this really big thing into this really small hole. But in this case, it almost felt too real. Like I could smell the embalming fluid through my phone. 32, Romantic Comedy. Was neither a romance or a comedy, which is something I figured out pretty early, so I could spare myself. 33, Funny You Should Ask. I don't think celeb romances really work, because I believe first and foremost that a man should be obsessed with me, and that I should not be pining on my own for said man. 34, Flawless. Okay, aside from milk, like the beverage, not the, coming up way too often, this book was a fantastic introduction into the wild and wonderful world of Miss Elsie Silver, so I'm tipping my cowboy hat to you, Miss Ma'am. 35, Things We Leave Unfinished. I really wish this book had been left unfinished, because what the world doesn't need more of is romanticization of World War II, and books where women don't get happy endings. Number 36, Mile High. Not many romances are worth a 600-page read, but Liz Tomford packs every one of those pages with character development, with romance, with hot sex, so I can't even be mad. Number 37, The Ritual. All right, I can overlook the whole being nothing but a slam piece to a stranger thing. I can even get past the consensual non-consent fantasies that I'm personally not very into, but I draw my line at replacing birth control with placebos. Number 38, and Not So Meet Cute. Getting Pretty Woman at Chipotle is kind of a dream of mine, but reading a book where the pregnant side character is treated like a sideshow at a circus is not. Number 39, All Roads Lead Here. If you're a little freak who only likes romances where the men are genuinely assholes at the beginning, Ariana Zapata has got you covered with lots and lots of slow burn pages. Number 40, The Heart Principle, is more about caretaking a dying relative and recovering from trauma than it is for growing in a romance together, but maybe that's what you're looking for. Number 41, Does It Hurt? Now I thought the title of this book is referring to being a con artist on the run, or getting stick and poke tattoos from a stranger at a bus stop. But no, actually, it's a phrase that is said in the throes of passion by an Italian stranger while he's impaling the heroine on his, 42. Practice makes perfect. If dating prospects are bad in your small town, you should get the hot bodyguard who's protecting your brother's fiance to teach you how to be good at the dating and the sexing. Number 43, King of Battle and Blood. Now, if you grew up reading your mom's mass market paperback romances, you might remember a recurring theme that was like, oh, but I can't love him, he's evil. And like a couple of pages later, they're boning like rabbits, and it just goes over and over again. Oh, I hate him, but I love him, but I have to fuck him, but I hate him again. You might really enjoy this vampire romance. 44, Something Wilder. Now, I love Christina Lauren, which is why it kind of shocks me that they could write a treasure hunting romance that is boring and yet somehow chock full of more sex than I wanted. Number 45, Nora Goes Off Script. Now, if you wrote a screenplay that's getting the big movie star treatment, the crew comes, they're filming at your house, would you let the lead of the movie, the really hot, hunky movie star, would you let him stay at your house after filming because he liked your vibe and he wanted to have raw intercourse at all hours of the day? 46, say you swear. I swear. I really do love a good brother's best friend romance, but not when the brother is like weirdly invested in your romantic relationships and the hero is just like a little bitch about his attraction to you. 47, My Killer Vacation. I don't think murder, mysteries, and romance mix, especially when the hero is an older dude with a mustache who like steals your panties when there's a killer on the loose. It just, no. 48, Good Girl Complex. I didn't ask for After by Anna Todd meets Outer Banks on Netflix, and yet I had to read it anyway. 49, The Never King. I feel like this book had to be the result of the weirdest possible dream, because what else would explain a Peter Pan, ex-Wendy and the Lost Boys smut-filled escapade? 50, The X-Talk. I feel like if you're gonna write a rom-com, I want you to pick between horny or depressing. I don't really like the combo. 51, The Road Trip. Now, if the synopsis of the book says that you and your ex had a traumatic breakup, mayhaps you shouldn't be getting those characters back together, especially not with a car crash involved. 52, Mr. Wrong Number. Ordinarily, I'd be into the sort of like accidentally sexing a stranger setup, but this one kind of fell flat because the heroine was a bit of a dumbass. Number 53, The No-Show. Now, if you like romance, I suggest you look elsewhere because this book did not have a happy ending, and each heroine included was more pitiful than the last, which is something I simply cannot abide by. Pitiful men? Yes, please. Pitiful women? No, thank you. Number 54, Actor A.G. Brown. Now, as a general rule, I do not fuck with British rom-coms, as evidenced by the one that I just talked about, but Talia Hibbert really has the ability to make me believe in love, even when I feel like I've given up. 55, The 7-Year Slip. If this author's debut adult romance novel made me smell dead people, this romance made me smell hot sexual tension and angst, which is really all that I needed to give this book 5 stars. Number 56, Praise. I appreciate when a book's title tells me absolutely everything I need to know, except I am also profoundly stupid and read this one knowing I very much do not have a praise kink. 57, Love Life Arms. A best friend romance where the kibbles and bits are not described in gory detail when the corn shucking commences is exactly what the doctor ordered for me for Christmas. 58, Consider Me. Now, if you're into reformed man-slut romances that are actually fun and you also just got finished reading The Deal by Elle Kennedy, here you go. Number 59, Delilah Green Doesn't Care, except actually she does care about everything, too much to the point where you're wondering if the vendetta that she has against her stepfamily is more important than the actual romance. Number 60, Second First Impressions. Some books transcend description because they're simply too specific, with characters who are simultaneously too unique and too boring to care about, and this is just one of those books. 61, What Lies Beyond the Veil. If I, as a heroine, have been consistently groomed and abused, and you're supposed to be my savior, why are you being a persistent creep talking about how much you want to ooze my coos? 62, Pucking Around. For a girl who is still gnawing at the bars of my enclosure after watching Challengers, you'd think that I'd be more apt to love and recommend a reverse harem romance, but there is such thing as too many dicks in the kitchen and too many pages in a book. 63, A Touch of Malice. One Hades and Persephone romance was enough for me, thank you. Number 64, Glint. Raven Kennedy really gives George R.R. Martin a run for his money with her rampant use of sexual assault in fantasy, but in this sequel, you do in fact see the heroine open her eyes to the abuse that's been disguised as love, so I guess respect. 65, Assistant to the Villain. Now, I wish I could say I wasn't charmed by this truly bizarre fantasy romance that's a mix of like 2000s office setting crammed into like a generic ye olden days fantasy time period with a sexy ne'er-do-well hero, but I'd be lying. 66, There Are No Saints. If a lighthearted fantasy romance isn't your speed, mayhaps you'll enjoy a romance about murderers competing for the best kill, fighting over an art student. 67, Hello Stranger. I wish I could say the heroine in this book feeding her dog Chinese food instead of dog food was the worst part of this book, but I would be lying. 68, Same time next summer. Why marry a finance bro when you can hook up with your loser ex-boyfriend who like sits on the beach at all hours of the day playing Wonderwall? Number 69, Dating Dr. Dill. I wish the heroine in the story had been as into the hero as she was into saving her child at home from being put on the housing market. 70, Shipped. Whenever a book is compared to two popular romances like The Unhoneymooners meets A Hating Game, you can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be as good as either of those titles, and this Enemies to Lovers cruise ship romance is no exception. 71, Promises and Pomegranates. Smells like a Hades and Persephone retelling. 72, Indigo Ridge. Romantic suspense is just simply not sexy to me because I don't really want to worry about being murdered while I'm trying to figure out if I want to spend forever with a hot rancher. 73, 'Tis the Season for Revenge. Now normally I fuck with a revenge story, but I wanted more romance between the heroine and the hot older hero, not verbally abusive tirades from the ex-boyfriend on like multiple different occasions as I'm reading this book. It just really took me out of it. 74, In the Likely Event. I will just let my Goodreads review speak for itself on this one. 75, Unfortunately Yours. The key to a smutty romance is being so invested in what's going on that you forget to feel weird as you're reading about two people mashing their naughty bits together. But this book just didn't quite accomplish that for me. 76, Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. What's wild to me about this book is how beautiful the cover and title are and how much they obscure the actual vibe of the book, which is, I kind of like you, but I really want to fuck your dad and probably ruin your life and also ruin my life and just consequences be damned. 77, Thank You for Listening. Julia Whalen didn't put the whole audiobook industry on her back just for you to not read her very good, surprisingly Emily Henry-esque romance. 78, The Finish Line. I draw the line at reading the third book in a series when it is an unnecessary addition to a complete story that's been finished for years. 79, The Charm Offensive. If you don't mind getting in the weeds of somebody else's wretched mental health, I think you'd really enjoy the balance of like sweet low-key moments and totally grand gestures that are present in this male-male romance. Number 80, A Fate of Wrath and Flame. Okay, this book is basically if you took human Farah, like very early on in the ACOTAR series, and dropped her into, let's say, Moore's body. Everyone thinks she's Moore. Moore has committed a murder, but before Farah like showed up in Moore's body, now Farah's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know where I am. I don't know what has been done in this body. And oh god, it is not fun. 81, Darling Venom. When your best friend dies, it only makes sense to seek out his brother, who's an OBGYN. And you... I can't say it on God's green internet, but I'm sure you can guess how and where the heroine inappropriately gets off in this book, okay? 82, Honey Girl. It's hard when you care a lot about a character, but you just don't give a shit about the romance. Number 83, Zodiac Academy number 5, Cursed Fates. All right, now I might suffer through the series over on Patreon, but I sure as hell am not going to slog through 5 books for free. 84, The Roughest Draft. There's just something so elite about writing a sexy divorce story with your estranged male best friend in Florida. 85, The Casanova. If you like phrases such as, break my vagina, give me some cream, and don't talk with your mouth full, here is the perfect enemies to lovers insta-love story for you. 86, The Blind Side. You want to seduce the guy on campus who lugs around an acoustic guitar and does Wonderwall sets just for any woman who'll listen, so you enlist the help of a football player to make you cool, to deflower you, and honestly, it shouldn't have been as hot as it was. 87, God of Malice. Forced head in the opening of a romance from a guy who wants to be a doctor only so he can get all up in people's guts and not in the sexy way. I'm simply not brave enough. 88, Faking with Benefits. For a reverse harem romance, I can really appreciate how much time spent giving each character an actual personality. I less appreciate the cramming of many fingers into back holes. 89, The Long Game. It's cool to try new things, but sometimes I think that old things are cool, especially when old things are you writing quirky heroines and the new things are you writing grumpy heroines. You're just really good at writing sunshine romances. 90, Redeemed. I thought I'd be okay starting with the 4th book in a series of standalones, but honestly, it left me indifferent to pretty much anything that was happening. Or maybe that's just the writing. 91, Forever Never. After one too many books by this author that I didn't like, I can say Forever Never is how I'm feeling about picking up another one. 92, The Dating Plan. I wish all brothers' best friend romances were this hot and well developed. 93, Before I Let Go. It should be illegal to write books as sexy, well-developed, and romantic as Kennedy Ryan's, but I'm glad it's not because she keeps publishing and I'm gonna keep eating that shit up. 94, The Wedding Crasher. Sometimes you really want to like a book, especially when the hero is written to be charming, but sometimes it just doesn't work out and he's just a grade A fucking weirdo. 95, The Nanny. Sometimes you get really excited about a hot single dad romance and then get let down because the character development just seems to fly out the window when the clothes start flying off. 96, A Ruin of Roses. This is technically a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I'm gonna lump it in and say no more retellings. I've been told. 97, A Marvelous Light. I'm just never gonna care about a book set in Edwardian England, I'm so sorry. 98, Behind the Net. I love when heroes are just obsessed with heroines for a really, really long time, but something about this one just didn't land, kind of like the heroine's music career. 99, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Name a historical romance with moving houses and more uncomfortable sex scenes. I'll wait. 100, The Kiss Curse. It would be crazy if I dropped a love potion on my enemy witch and then we smooched, and it would be even crazier if I cared at all about these two getting together. But that's it. Those are my 100 one-sentence reviews of the most popular romances of the past 3 years. Nailed it. It took me, I cannot tell you how many takes to try to puzzle that out. It is so challenging to try to... Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a little chuckle, a little giggle out of a couple of these. I'll leave a link in the description to this list down below if you would enjoy it. I'll also leave a link to my video for the 2023 version of the list where I talk about like the top 10 romances that I think you should read. Again, like the lists are different for some reason. Again, there's not much overlap, but there's more videos, there's more lists, there's more things coming for me as well in the future. So thanks for watching. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.